Hi guys, so today I want to share 3 African inspired dishes. I made some African chicken, I made some jollof rice, and I made some African inspired beef tibs. Now, you heard me say inspired. I think I done said it about 3 or 4 times by now. These recipes are inspired, you guys. I've never made African food before. Coming to America Part 2 came out, and that is a family favorite here. So we had a little get together with the fam, and that was a good excuse for me to make some, or attempt to make some African inspired dishes. So I found a few online, and I'll make sure I leave the links to the recipes that I used in the description box. Coming to America Part 2 came out. It was okay to me. I enjoyed the family and the food more than the movie. I rated about a 6. Maybe about a 6, y'all. But if you watch the movie, tell me what you think about it in the comments. I think the first one was better, of course. But anyways, you guys, so you're gonna need a lot of produce. You're gonna need a lot of prep. You're gonna need a lot of chopping and dicing and mincing. Now I'm going to tell you the exact measurements as we cook it, but here I'm just showing you a lot of the things you're going to need. You're going to need some garlic, ginger, onion, thyme, red bell pepper, green bell pepper, some green onions, some carrots. You're also going to need some basil, fresh parsley. Now for the chicken, the seasonings that I'm going to use some smoked paprika, curry powder, some Maggi chicken bouillon powder, salt, and pepper. Now for the recipe, I'm going to use about 4 to 5 pounds of chicken drums. I've already got them nice and clean. Now I'm going to brown my chicken drums first. This is a different step from the recipe. Like I said, I was inspired by these recipes that I use, so they're not exactly how they were made. But I'm going to brown my chicken first. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of seasoning to it. I didn't measure it. You can just add salt and pepper if you want, but I just thought, why not? And then you're going to go ahead and mix all your seasoning and your chicken together. You're going to cover it up and you're going to stick it in the fridge and let it chill out until you're ready to cook it. If you can do it the day before, girl, it's going to taste even better. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make this paste. We're going to take our onions and our bell pepper, our red bell pepper, and we're going to throw it in this food processor, and it's going to make a paste. Now I accidentally added in my tomato. I was not paying attention, but the tomato goes in the dish anyway, so it wasn't a big issue. I did not use the habanero because I didn't want my booty to burn. But you can use a hot pepper, a Scotch bonnet pepper, habanero. You can use any hot pepper, your heat level. But this is going to make a lot more than you need for the dish, so you can just store it in the refrigerator and use it in other dishes. It's really good. It adds a lot of flavor. So now that we're done with all the prep work for the chicken, we're going to go ahead and get our beef seasoned so we can let that marinate also. I'm going to go ahead and add in some coriander, some smoked paprika. I'm also going to add in some ground ginger, a little bit of cayenne pepper for some heat. I'm going to throw in some cumin, a little bit of allspice, some onion powder and garlic powder. You guys know I add that to everything. Some black pepper. I'm going to add in some chicken bouillon powder and salt. And then I had a bunch of lime, so I just went ahead and squeezed some lime over it. That was not in the recipe. That was something that I just did, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that together. I'm going to cover it up and I'm going to stick it in the fridge so it can marinate. So now that we have our beef and our chicken marinating, we're going to go ahead and make our jollof rice. Now the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take some oil and you're going to add it to a big pot, heat that up. You're going to add in some diced onions, let those cook until they get nice and soft. And then we're going to throw in some tomato paste. We're going to let this tomato paste fry in this oil for about 5 minutes just to get all that canny taste out, and it's going to really add a depth of flavor. Next, we're going to add in some ginger, garlic, and a bay leaf. And we're going to let that continue to cook for about 2 minutes. Next, I took 3 Roma tomatoes and 1 small red bell pepper, and I put them in the food processor, and I'm going to go ahead and add that in. So now we're going to let this reduce until it gets nice and thick. You want all that liquid to absorb. You're going to kind of see the oil float to the top. So now we're going to go ahead and add some spices. We have some curry powder, some fresh thyme, some chicken bouillon, some salt, smoked paprika, onion powder, and garlic powder. Next, we're going to add in our washed rice, long grain rice. And then we're going to top it off with our chicken broth. So now we're going to bring this to a boil. We're going to cover it with a lid and we're going to let it cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. It might need a little bit more time. Just add a little bit more chicken broth to the bottom and cover it up. Keep it covered until it's fork tender. You just want it to be nice and tender. Mine's took about 25 to 30 minutes. Once it's done, you want to let it sit for about 5 minutes with the lid off and then fluff it with the fork. And there you have your jollof rice. In a big pot, I have some oil and I heated it up, and then I'm going to go ahead and brown my chicken on both sides. I'm going to let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes on both sides. You want to get it nice and brown. Now I had to cook my chicken in batches. You don't want to overcrowd your pan because your chicken's not going to get brown and crispy like you want it. So cook it in batches if you have to. So now we're just going to go ahead and sit this chicken aside. Next, I'm going to add in some chopped onions to the same pot. And we're going to let those cook and get nice and soft. Next, we're going to add in some chopped garlic and some minced ginger. And then we're going to let that continue to cook for about 30 seconds or so, just until the garlic and the ginger start to warm up. I'm going to add in 3 Roma tomatoes that I blended. And then I'm going to add in a big spoonful of that onion and pepper paste we made at the beginning. Like I said, you won't need all of what you made. You'll need about 1/4 of a cup of it. And then I'm going to add in some fresh thyme. You can use dry thyme if you don't have fresh thyme. Some salt, smoked paprika, curry powder, and black pepper. And then I'm going to add in some chicken bouillon. Look at all of that flavor, you guys. So now it's time to add our chicken back in. This is a 1-pot African chicken recipe, you guys. Like I said, 1 pot. That makes it so easy. I'm going to go ahead and mix my chicken up with my onions and garlic and tomato. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of chicken broth so it can stew a bit. I'm going to pop a lid on and let it cook for about 20 to 25 minutes on a low, like a high-low. The highest of the low. It's going to get nice and juicy and flavorful. Now after about 25 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and add in my sliced carrots. I'm going to add in my sliced red bell pepper and green bell pepper. and then my green onion. And we're gonna let this continue to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes with the lid off. You want to let some of that liquid absorb a bit so it'll get nice and thick. And you want to let your peppers and your onions you don't want to let them sweat down to nothing. You don't want them to cook down to nothing. You still want a little bite to it, but yeah, about 10 to 15 more minutes with the lid off. At the very end, you're going to go ahead and add in your chopped basil and your chopped parsley, and you're going to mix it together. You guys, this chicken is so delicious. I took some oil in a skillet, sauteed some sliced onion and minced garlic, added my meat in, let it cook for about, honestly, 3 to 4 minutes because it's sliced so thin. It cooks very, very fast. So flavorful, so smoky, so delicious.
Surprise, don't deny us. She telling me she want to be my lover, yeah. I love you when she want to be my lover, yeah. My little baby go rise on me. My little baby go ride on me. Maria, 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 ah. Every time you're looking out for me. Every time you're looking out for me. Love you, ah, yeah, oh. Everything go from Maria.